Well, hello everyone. We didn't get to do last week, so we are back and we shall be talking about a lot. But we are starting off with what we have been watching. So, what have you been watching, Luke?
Yeah, I've been watching not a whole lot of things, but work my way through it. So probably the main show I've been watching is Stick, which has been coming up weekly on Apple TV. So I'll talk a bit about that later. Been working my way through The Neighborhood, which is a sitcom that's in its seventh season. I'm only into season two. I finished Curb Your Enthusiasm, so now I've moved on to watching Eastbound and Down. I've also finished watching Righteous Gemstones. So yeah, finished a few things, started a few new things, but not too much going on. There's more things coming out that I'm quite excited about. What have you been watching?
Well, lately I was watching an excellent British show called Detective Q, and the concept is that this kind of arse kind of person, he doesn't really get along with everyone, gets shot through and through. So what happens is the first police officer gets shot, he's dead, and then the second one he gets paralyzed, and then the third one, because the bullet went through, he only nothing happens to him, but he has to live with the trauma. So he eventually comes back, but he has to see a psych, and then he gets kind of demoted, but his own team of looking into cold cases, and it's a really excellent show. Hopefully it gets to season 2, and yeah, one of Netflix's best shows.
So it was a British show?
Yeah.
You love your British shows, don't you? I reckon you watch more British shows than American shows.
Yes.
I reckon I watch 0 British shows. Okay, and that's all you've been watching, or a few other things you've been working your way through?
Other things, Murderbot, couple episode come out today, and also anime as well.
Okay, I'm going to ask you more about Murderbot later. I want to see if we do kind of a mid-season or like kind of a report card for it so far, and I'll do the same for Stick, both Apple TV shows. So moving into the world of TVs and streaming, we've got a few things coming out. So today we've got a show called Smoke.
Yes.
We talked about that and looked at the trailer last time. How excited are you for Smoke? I'm getting more excited the closer it's been getting. What about you?
Yeah, I'm definitely excited. Flabbergasted.
Do you think you'll watch it this week?
Yes.
How many do we know if there's 2 episodes dropping tonight or 1 episode, or we're not sure?
I believe it's 2.
Okay, they do like to do that. So for those that don't know about Smoke, it looks like it's a show about an FBI agent working alongside an arson, must be a police officer that works, or firefighter that specializes in arson, trying to catch serial arsonists. The trailer kind of promotes that, maybe this person that works to find arsonists is in fact actually the arsonists themselves. But maybe that's what they want to trick us to think, or maybe it's
more to it.
Yeah, or maybe we know that, but we're kind of watching, him go about his work, kind of like a Dexter type show where you know who the bad guy is, but you're trying to watch the suspense of whether they get caught. Yeah. But this Taron Egerton is the main character in this, and I'm very excited about the show. Also can be found on Apple TV.
Yes.
Any other things coming out that we know
of? For TV shows, Ironheart just came out.
Yeah, I saw the first few minutes of that. I am willing to give it a watch regardless of what other people are saying. But from what I could see in the first few minutes, it very much seemed like a hard swing at trying to be, really inclusive in their casting. Whether that's a good or bad thing, it just seemed very, very obvious. So I don't know if that's going to be an issue or whether that's going to be a plus for the show.
Yes.
In terms of... Actually, let's move on to Murderbot. You tell me your first impression / scorecard of Murderbot so far. So how many episodes are out?
I believe 6 at the moment. So with Murderbot, I think it's a very quirky and kind of out there idea. If you're into sci-fi, you'll definitely enjoy it. But if you're not into, getting your sustenance for the week, because it's a show that only has 30 minutes, and it does come out weekly. So you're probably not getting your money's worth, because for a weekly show, you probably want it to go for at least 40 to 50 minutes. So that's probably its weakest point. My strategy, what I'm doing is I'm waiting for 2 to 3 episodes to come out, and it's kind of helping with that. And of course, the same thing with Ironheart and things like that. There's different sort of lesbian couples and things like that, but I guess it's more realistic in this show because it's a science fiction show and it's set in the future. But I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying the inner dialogue from the main character. This show is also based on a book as well, novels, so very curious to see if it does get renewed for season 2, or how much content they have and how they make it different from the books. Yes.
Okay, and you said it has been renewed for a few more seasons, or it's unsure of yet?
Unsure of yet.
And overall, what are you leaning towards out of 10 mark before? I know it's not finished yet, but where's it sitting at the halfway mark?
Probably 7 at the moment.
Okay. Do you think it's something that I would like, or you need to be kind of into sci-fi to really enjoy it?
I would say you more need to be into sci-fi, but it depends if you like the inner dialogue, but it's more into sci-fi.
Okay. So I'll tell you a little bit about Stick. So Stick is an Apple TV show starring Owen Wilson. It's surrounded by golf. I, as a golfer, was very intrigued by the show. I think it gets the golf element wrong, but that's okay. It's maybe not it's not tailored toward. It is tailored towards golfers, but I don't think it has to be super realistic. They need to widen the net. It's kind of a mix between that, bit of a teen drama, bit of a comedy drama. It's got its funny elements. Overall, I think it's a decent show. It just gets the golf wrong, and then there's a few plots in it that I like, not holes, but plots they've gone with, I think, are a bit far-fetched that just don't really make sense. I think it's got a lot of potential. There's a bit of a underlying story to the character of Owen Wilson. And I think that's where the show can be its strongest, whether it's going to go that way towards the end or whether they're going to lean that into season 2. But I must say, being 6 episodes in, it is becoming tiresome, this idea of he's the mentor to this young kid, and this young kid's just unbearable. Like, seriously, he's just mean to him, doesn't want to listen to him, and I don't know, how long can this bickering go on for? So I'm a bit over that. But the show's funny, it's enjoyable. I will definitely continue to watch it. I would probably recommend it to a lot of people, because if you're not a golfer, you probably don't care about the things that I'm picking up on. You might just watch it for the pure entertainment and think it's fine.
Do you think this show works as a weekly show, or do you think you need to wait for, say, 2 or 3 episodes to watch it?
No, you could definitely watch it weekly. I think most people probably end up binge watching, or maybe not binge watching, but they probably won't get onto it until it's probably finished. So I think being able to watch, you could watch episode 1 after another for sure. Not necessarily because you get hooked on it, just because they're not overly long. They're not, too complex. You just kind of could just, switch off, watch 3 or 4 quite quickly. So I think it works weekly. If it was dumped in one hit, I'd also be happy with it. It's fine. I think it will probably get a second season. Overall, it is a wholesome show. That's where I put it. But yeah, there's a lot of potential or story arcs it hasn't quite dived into. I don't want to give away what they are, but for Owen Wilson being the main character, it gets very little screen time. And I think when they give him some more, I think the show will be in its element.
Do you think they're now the casting?
I think Owen Wilson works well. I think it's very believable that he was a professional golfer. He kind of has the physique of a golfer. So yeah, I think that works well. I think the casting have done well. There is again, very much a theme through this of having a character who's, gender fluid. And they mention that quite a lot and make it not a problem in the show, but they keep bringing it up. And I feel like there's an agenda there by the writer or the director of this show. Again, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It just becomes obvious. It's very obvious that they're trying to push that out there. So, that seems to be a big theme in shows and movies now, where I think it's more tokenism. I actually think it's probably a negative thing sometimes if it's unrealistic or the representation or any group is overrepresented. But I'm also very happy that, other people are glad that people like them are being displayed on screen. But it's when it becomes too much, I think, or unbelievable. I go, oh, well, now we've gone the other way. So, but it seems very clear that there's this trend in it. The show also at times can be a bit cringy by talking about uses a few, like teenager slang words, and like I get them, but there'll be a lot of people that will go over their head. But it comes across cringy at times with that. But I will definitely recommend this show to most people because I think you don't need to be a golfer if you're an adult and you like something that's a little wholesome and a laugh here and there, you'll get something out of this show for sure.
Would you say this show is similar to like Ted Lasso and The Shrinking? Does it do it better? Does it do it worse?
It's a similar vein to that Ted Lasso. It's like the sport isn't the main focus. It kind of pushes the story along. Probably not as funny as Ted Lasso, and it has definitely far less characters. So each character gets a bit more, you dive into each character deeper, where Ted Lasso was kind of like each character got maybe an episode over all the seasons, where this is kind of, there's 5 main characters, and they're getting a lot of time shared between them.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's my mid-season review. I give the show maybe out of 10, like a 7.5.
Okay.
So it's fairly good. Moving on to movies, we've got a few upcoming releases.
Yeah.
So we've got F1,
Yes.
Fantastic Four, Jurassic World, Smurf, Superman. So they're coming out in the next 30 days. F1's out already. Which one are you most excited for out of those lot?
F1.
I think the same as well. I think F1, it's already out now. I've heard good things from people that have seen it, but visually, I just think it's going to be an experience and something I really want to see in IMAX or at least VMAX.
Yes.
Do you think you'll see this at the movies, or you're going to hold out till it's on Apple TV?
I'll hope to see it at the movies, but if not, got Apple TV.
Okay, cool. And okay, so let's talk about the movies so far. What is your most enjoyable movie of the year so far, and why?
Probably most enjoyable movie I would have to say, as a theatre experience, it would be How to Train Your Dragon. But the most movie I enjoyed would probably be The Thunderbolt. So I know it's 2 answers, but just the theatre experience, it was really enjoyable watching How to Train Your Dragon. The ticket was free, got a free chalk top. It was just an awesome experience to watch it. But as a movie, I think The Thunderbolts was a really good movie.
Yeah, the best movie I've seen this year. I'll have a look at my letterbox. I'm probably not going to go off the ratings because to me the ratings is what I think was the highest quality, not necessarily which I thought was the most enjoyable. So in terms of most enjoyable, I really liked Warfare for the experience. I do lean towards comedies though. I must say most of the movies I've seen this year I didn't really like. So there's more misses than hits for me. I'm going to go Mickey 17.
Okay.
So Mickey 17 is also my favourite movie of the year so far, but I also think it was the most enjoyable. I think it was
different.
I think it was different. It was funny. It was political. It had like so many things in it. It was just a movie that I didn't know what it could be, but it ended up blowing me away how good it was. So big fan of Mickey 17. So that is by far the most enjoyable movie I've seen this year, and one I would watch again, very without a doubt.
Did you like it more than Warfare?
I did. I think Warfare was a really cool experience and an overall great movie, but I think Mickey 17 is a movie I could come back to, where Warfare is like, once you've had the experience, that's it. I'm not saying I wouldn't watch it a second time, but that is more an experience than a movie. It's almost like watching a documentary or a body cam footage of war. So where Mickey 17 is a movie with a plot and story arc. So I think I lean towards Mickey 17.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving from that, let's go to a career comparison. So we did this a few weeks ago. We compared Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hanks. This time we've gone with females. We've gone with Sandra Bullock and Julia Roberts.
Yeah.
So these are 2 actresses that we thought are fairly similar in careers. Without diving deep into it, it's hard to pick one that I think stands out. So I'm going to read out some information about them, and then we'll have a discussion with what we think is the best, who we think had a better career so far. And we'll also discuss what our top 5 movies, combined movies for the two are. So I'll get up the information we've done so far. So, Julia Roberts shot to fame from the movie Pretty Woman in 1990.
I haven't seen it.
This was a massive box office and cultural hit and cemented her as an American sweetheart. So, I believe I have seen Pretty Woman a long time ago. Concept is I believe she's a prostitute, an escort. A wealthy man kind of like hires her, and then I think like kind of falls in love with her or wants to try and like save her from the streets, and they fall in love or something. So it's, I guess at the time, this idea of, you know, falling in love with a prostitute or trying to
Unheard of.
rescue a prostitute was probably, you know, very groundbreaking for cinema. Sandra Bullock, on the other hand, in 1994 rose to fame with a movie called Speed with a a relatively popular actor, Keanu Reeves. Anyone's heard of him?
Seen that movie.
So this showcased her charm and screen presence in an action setting. Speed, great film. It's been a very long time since I've seen it, but I remember as a child watching it several times. I think the first one's on the bus, the second one's on a boat.
Haven't seen the second one.
The concept, roughly from memories, it had to stay above 60 kilometers an hour, and they're driving through like a crazy street. You're like, how is that possible? But they do. But yeah, it's that was. I remember really, really enjoying it as a kid. In terms of their awards, both have won the Best Actress at the Academy Awards once. So Julia Roberts for Erin Brockovich in 2000, and then Sandra Bullock won it for The Blind Side in 2009. Julia Roberts outweighs with nominations. She was nominated for Steel Magnolias, Pretty Woman, August, Osage Country, where Sandra Bullock, besides Blindside, was only nominated for Gravity.
Okay.
In terms of the box office, Julia Roberts dominated in the 90s, being in comedies and dramas such as Notting Hill, My Best Friend's Wedding, and Runaway Bride. She was the first woman to warrant $20 million per film. So I still think she's probably up there with one of the highest paid actresses, maybe someone like Scarlett Johansson might have surpassed her now. Or, yeah, maybe Jennifer Lawrence. But yeah, Julia Roberts was the first female to really demand that high price. Sandra Bullock was considered to be a bit more consistent and being in more films. Her massive hits are Gravity, Proposal, Blindside, The Heat, which I really enjoyed, a funny movie, and then Oceans. It says 8, but I believe she was in Oceans 11. Maybe she was in Oceans 8 too. Is that the female one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it says here, Julia Roberts is known primarily for romantic comedies and prestige dramas, where Sandra Bullock has a broader range. She's done action, sci-fi, comedy, drama, and thrillers, talking about Bird Box, which I've not seen Bird Box, but I remember that had its moment. That was a cultural phenomenon when that came out. I think that was around COVID times.
Yeah.
And it was kind of when everyone was at home with not much to do, that hit Netflix and went ballistic. Julia Roberts, her cultural impact, she's considered as the quintessential 90s rom-com queen. And Sandra Bullock is known to be relatable and versatile and America's sweetheart. So in summary, they've both won the same amount of awards. Julia Roberts has had a few more nominations. They roughly have probably made about the same at the box office. Who do you think has had the best career out of the two, from your opinion?
My opinion, I would probably say Sandra Bullock, because she's been in different movies. The Blind Side to me is quite an emotional and quite a movie that I go that meant quite a lot. And also The Proposal and Gravity. I think her movies are more meaningful, but Julia Roberts is still a good actress.
For me, Sandra Bullock has probably been in more films that I've enjoyed. Julia Roberts is also a little bit older, and she's in a kind of different types of films. I think Julia Roberts is probably I'm going to say a better actress, but I think Sandra Bullock has had a better career from movies that I like. So I'm going Camp Sandra Bullock, but I'm softly sitting on the fence saying I think Julia Roberts is a better actress though.
Yeah.
I think also Sandra Bullock probably has. I think she quit acting actually, but I think she's got a lot of good years ahead of her. But I think she's funny. I think she's best when she's in comedies, and for not that she's old, but she is very attractive for her age and looks a lot younger. So she's still got a lot of years ago of, in a lot of films being maybe typecast as like she does seem to be typecast as like that middle-aged single woman.
Yeah.
But, she might start to get typecast as like the hot mum soon. I don't know, where Julia Roberts is kind of beyond that age and kind of starting to move into being typecast as a grandmother. Yeah, so moving forward, I don't know who will have the better career. In terms of a top 5 combined movies, let's get into it. What is your number 5th favorite movie out of these two actresses?
I would probably have to say The Heat.
The Heat, big fan of The Heat. Been a long time since I've seen it, but I do remember laughing quite a lot. That was probably when wish I could think of her name. The actress that she's in
Melissa McCarthy.
That's it. She was like at the height. She was in like everything. From memory, she's in The Heat, right? I'm thinking of the right movie because there's like another one that's got Sofia Vergara in it. I think that's got like Reese Witherspoon. I think that's called. Maybe it's called Hot Pursuit or something.
Yeah, that's Hot Pursuit.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, and is it like she steals her identity? Is that the movie? Yeah, and then she goes like after it. It's kind of like a bit like a movie version of what happens to Monica in like Friends. Yeah. Oh yeah, I do remember really enjoying that. Does it also have Jason Bateman in it?
And Daniel Thief. Yeah.
Oh, that's another movie. Okay, I'm getting. What happens in Heat then? They're both cops.
Heat. Sandra Bullock is an FBI agent, and Melissa McCarthy is a police officer, and they both work on the same case.
Okay, so I'm mixing two movies together that aren't related that have the same actress in it. Okay. Well, I remember I quite liked it. So number 5, I've got Ocean's 11. So I thoroughly enjoyed this movie, but it's low on the list because Julia Roberts is not the main character in this movie. So I want to add it, but she is not the main character. So that's probably why it sits low on the list. But I'm going to have Ocean's 11 at number 5 for movies with Sandra Bullock and Julia Roberts. What do you got at number 4?
My number 4 with Julia Roberts is American Devil.
Who's in it? Sandra Bullock or is it Julia Roberts movie?
Julia Roberts movie.
What's it about?
When she works for a new organization and then the boss doesn't like her.
Are you talking about Devil Wears Prada?
Yeah.
Is she in Devil Wears Prada?
I don't know.
I think Devil Wears Prada has.
Hannah.
That's got Anne Hathaway in it.
Yeah, okay. And number 4, I'll go Gravity.
Gravity?
Yes.
I've yet to see Gravity. I'm assuming it's about space.
Yes. So Gravity is a very interesting sci-fi. It only has Sandra Bullock and George Clooney, but it was a very mind-bending sci-fi thriller, but very enjoyable movie.
Okay, at number 4, I've got Erin Brockovich, the true story about a sister that was wrongly her brother or something was wrongly accused, and she became a lawyer later in life just to prove his innocence. And again, it's a true story. Erin Brockovich is a bit of a champion. I remember really, really enjoying this movie and the portrayal by Julia Roberts in it. What have you got at number 4? Number 3.
Number 3, I have Speed. I'm going to go for number 3. Very enjoyable action movie. A little bit unbelievable with how the driving goes, but very good action movie. Definitely one of my favorites with Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock. Very enjoyable when I first watched it. Haven't seen the second one, but I've heard it's not as good because Keanu Reeves isn't in it. But besides that, very good movie.
So at number 3, I've got The Blind Side, which is the one movie that Sandra Bullock won the Best Actress Award for. Very good sports movie. Again, a true story. Thoroughly liked it. It's just the movies ahead of, I think, probably things I remember from my childhood more. With this movie probably came out more when I was a teenager, so it didn't get as many views for me. But yeah, The Blind Side at number 3. What have you got at number 2?
Number 2, I'm going to go with Congeniality, and this is probably one of her most famous comedies. When we all know she goes undercover and she is an FBI agent, but very entertaining to watch and very funny. Both movies very, very entertaining to watch.
For me, number 2, I've also got Miss Congeniality. I remember watching this movie a lot as a kid. It had a couple of sequels, one, maybe two. Again, very funny. This was probably, it's not what brought Sandra Bullock to the limelight, but it's kind of what propelled her into, different markets, showing that she can be extremely funny. And I think that's when she's at best in comedy films. I think she kind of then, since then, has kind of played that same role in different aspects, whether it's in Hot Pursuit, whether it's even in Love Island. I know she plays kind of the damsel in the Love Island, but she kind of seems the same in all her movies since then. And I think that's because she found a niche in Miss Congeniality. So that's what I got at number 2. What is your favorite movie of these 2 actresses?
Even though they're not in it together, it has to be The Blind Side. I think it's an emotional, true story. She obviously won her Academy Award in it. When I think of Sandra Bullock, it's always The Bright Side, and I always have emotional tear every time I watch it. I've seen it quite a lot. Haven't seen it for a while, but when I was younger, I saw it quite a lot, and yeah, very impacting, emotional movie.
So my number 1, I got Speed. So I watched this a hell of a lot as a kid. I need to rewatch it now to see how unbelievable it is. But at the time, I think it was a great action film. This concept of, like if the bus gets below this speed, it's going to blow up. And I remember thinking it was, a concept of like, what would you do if you're in that situation? And is it even possible? And yeah, Speed was a great film. Obviously, Keanu Reeves was more of the main character than Sandra Bullock. But this was, as I said, it was the movie in 2004 that propelled her to stardom.
Yeah.
So that's our top 5. We've done our comparison of who we think is probably had the best career so far. That kind of wraps up the things we've got on the agenda. Anything else you feel you want to add or talk about?
I guess talk about how do you find the, I guess, writing direction that we are at the moment? It seems like we have to write about genders and all this different thing instead of just writing a good story. I think that's why older movies were better.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. I do think that writers are, I hate to use this term, but people know what you mean when you say it, woke. Mm-hmm. So I do think that writing has moved into this spectrum of being trying to please people and being. And again, I'm not against it, but that's the word I think describe in my head when I hear that what it means. And so I'm not necessarily going to say I think older movies were better or shows because they didn't appease that. I think it's coming a reality that we're not the target generation anymore.
No.
I'm over 30, you're approaching 30.
Yeah.
I think as the new generation comes through, these issues that where we're thinking, oh, that's a bit odd. Like, why are they putting that in? But, those might be everyday problems. So, for instance, I'm thinking of the show Stick. There's a character on there. Her name is Zero.
Zero.
Her name's Zero.
Okay.
She looks a bit masculine, but, I don't know what's between her legs, but you can see she has breasts. She sleeps with a male character in this, so I assume that, but then they mention at some point, that, some days she's a bit more masculine and other days she's a bit more feminine. And, she's kind of they refer to as they. I keep saying her, but her pronouns are they in the show, they, them. And to me, I think I forget that that's probably a very normal conversation for younger people. That people in high school right now, we think, oh, that's an odd thing, and to them that's like the normal. Like in a class of 30 people, maybe 4 people identify as they them, and other people identify as something that doesn't look obvious to the naked eye. Like so maybe we're just kind of out of touch and starting to realize that, oh, actually, this is normal. It seems abnormal to us because maybe people in our friendship circle, our age group, it is abnormal, but it might be normal for the target generation. But I do think there's a large swing the opposite direction. So I think historically we've probably seen shows and movies swing, generally towards the cis straight white male.
Yeah.
And then we find that sometimes we swing too hard the other way to try and even out the pendulum, and that's not how it works. You can't, just because someone's been favored for so long, you can't then so heavily favor the other side and evens it out. It's not even anymore. You kind of got to slowly graduate it in. Like you can't have, if shows in the past haven't represented same-sex couples, you don't then write a show and have, more than 50% of the couples same sex. Like that to me, maybe in some circles that is the common, but to me, I think that probably doesn't represent the norm. So you've swung too hard the other way.
Yeah.
Where I think like slowly, gradually putting it in so that it then becomes the norm. Because then you don't put those people who go, what's this? I don't want to see that. That's disgusting on TV. So you got to kind of like ease it in for those people, because the younger generation, they don't need easing in. That's just life. That's normal to them. What are your thoughts on the way that, writing's going and the trends you've seen, particularly with what you mentioned about the seems to be, again, I use the word woke culture.
I can understand it in a way, but from a person that wants just a good story and a good movie, I think if the story starts off like it, like I recently watched a show that was about 3 homosexuals, they lose the 4th member. From the start, it's fine, but if it changes and things like that, that's when I kind of go, well, why are you changing the storyline just to fit in with someone else? Because to me, story matters more, and if you're infiltrating what the storyline is, I don't think that's really good, because I know it's hard to please everyone, but if you're making out you're pleasing one diverse group, it's not good doing that. It's better just telling the story that you want to tell.
I think that the best shows for me are those when they focus on a specific issue. Like we've talked a lot about Atypical, the premises about, someone on the spectrum and dating, but then it tried to swing into different
stuff.
It went into different directions. And I think shows that stick in one lane tend to be the best for me. And I'd hate to think that means, like, if you want shows to be about, same-sex couples or transgender, that the show needs to be only about that. I know that sounds sad for that to be the case, but I think by doing that, you attract the audience that want to see that, and then it becomes popular. Because, if you have a show that the premise is about, like 2 neighbors and, their disputes are over, like, one person's white and one person's black. So you go to watch the show for the comedy of, black versus white, and then suddenly, like, one of the main characters becomes transgender and then it swings that way, you've then deviated from your original audience.
Yeah.
So I think maybe you need to have a premise to begin with and stick in that lane, because then you attract the people that are interested in seeing that, because then you run the risk of exposing it to your audience that weren't here for that. They go, "Ooh, not for me." And I know that's their problem, not your problem as the writer, but I think the shows that stick to their lane do well. There's been so many shows in the past that we've liked. Season 1's been great, and season 2's been great, and then season 3 they've gone wild, and you're like, why did you change the formula?
Yeah.
And it's very similar to that. I think trying to change the politicalness behind a show. I also think shows becoming political are problematic, unless
The Boys comes tomorrow.
Well, The Boys, for me, that's kind of the whole point, though. They're trying to make satire of politics and satire of, the Marvel universe. So I think that politics has always been part of it. It's just the more recent seasons are more political. But it's like, I don't think shows, there was a trend many years ago where nearly every show had, like, the Black Lives Matter movement in it.
Yeah.
Again, like, supportive of that. But if that wasn't what the show was about, if some shows don't need to become political. If you've got an absolute comedy show that's, just meant to be for laughs, you don't make it political. You don't chuck in something political, because I think you then deviate from your original message. So that's probably my thought. Shows and movies sticking in their lane and not changing for politics or changing because they think that if we don't do that, we're going to be seen as racist, sexist. I think a good example is you look at comedians. Some of the biggest comedians in the world, someone like Dave Chappelle, he says the most politically incorrect stuff. Like he'll in his shows, pick on someone that's transgender, pick on someone that's, because of their color of their skin, because of their disability. And it's for comedy. Like he doesn't mean what he says. It's comedy. That doesn't make it any better, like make it appropriate. But if you're going to that show, you obviously are okay with it. If you go to a comedy show and I was offended, you're like, well, why were you there? Like you know what they're going to say, you know what they're about. So, but it goes to where I was going with this is he doesn't try and become politically correct. He doesn't start to go, oh, I better tone this back. I'm offending people. He goes harder. Comedians go harder at what they have to say, and people like it. Is he a good person? I don't know. Is he for everyone? Definitely not. But comedians don't try and go, oh, well, if I say this, I'm going to get cancelled. They just keep going with it because their job is to make people laugh. So shows don't need to go, oh, our show, this might be a bit racist if we keep doing this. Well, maybe you just keep doing it because the people that find it racist won't watch it. Instead, you risk annoying the people that do like what you've got to present. Different if a show like has, it's very racist or super like promoting Nazis, but a little bit of humor in particular, if it is fine because it's comedy. It's like you hear comedians make jokes about 9/11. No one thinks 9/11 is funny, but at the end of the day, they say that comedy is grief plus time. So there's a point where you go, well, they're not making fun of the victims of 9/11. They're just making a joke. It's a joke. You either find it funny or you don't. You shouldn't be offended by it.
Yeah.
So I think shows run the risk of, trying to please everyone and pleasing no one.
Yeah.
So that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah.
Any other questions or topics you want to talk about?
I was thinking we should play like a game or something.
Okay. Which one have we done so far that you like? There's the game where, we can ask AI to give us a plot to a show or a movie, and we've got to try and guess what it is. If it's vague, we can do ones where we've got to try and guess which one made the most money at the box office. Like, which one do you like?
Maybe guess the plot.
Okay, give us a second.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so instead of asking for a plot, I've asked it to give me clues for a movie and then see if we can work out what it is. So the clue is this film is set mostly in one room. I reckon I already know the answer. No, I won't say it. The main character communicates in an unusual way. And it's based on a true story involving kidnapping and survival.
Oh.
I'm thinking it's Saw, but I'm not aware that Saw is based upon a true story. So I'm leaning towards Saw.
Oh, I can't remember what the movie is. Oh, it's with the actress that plays Captain Marvel. I can't remember.
Oh, like Alison Brie.
Brie Larson.
Brie Larson.
Yeah, she's in the movie when her and her son are in the one room.
So do you want me to ask the answer, or do you want to keep thinking?
I can't think what the movie's called.
Room.
Yes.
Just called Room. Stars Brie Larson, who won an Oscar for the role, about a young woman held captive in a small shed for years. Much of the movie is told through the eyes of her son, born in captivity. Okay, never heard of that movie. It's good.
Yeah,
She won an award for it.
she was actually good in that movie.
Yeah, you're not a big fan of her. I actually really like the Captain Marvel movie.
I like her in that movie.
Okay, let's ask for another movie. I was thinking Saw, but I'm like, Saw I don't believe is true in any way possible. But it would meet the criteria otherwise.
Yes.
About kidnapping survival. It's set usually in one room, and they communicate through a weird way with the little dude on the trike, but it's not a true story. Okay, movie 2. It features a character who ages in reverse.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a bit too easy, this one, I reckon.
the one with Brad Pitt.
Yeah, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
Hmm.
So it's based on a short story by F. Scott Fitzgerald, stars an actor known for both Fight Club and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Hmm.
Okay. That's Benjamin Button. Okay, number 3. It's about a teacher who inspires his students through poetry. I think it's Dead Poets Society. It's set in a strict all-boys prep school, and famous quotes are "Carpe diem, seize the day, boys." And I reckon the next clue would be it stars
Robert Williams.
Yeah,
Haven't seen the movie.
me either. I just figure it is. It is the Dead Poets Society. Okay. Next movie. Set inside a dream, and then a dream within a dream. Yeah, it's very
Inception.
Yeah, I think it's it. Directed by the same person who made The Dark Knight and Oppenheimer,
Mm-hmm.
and features a spinning top that may or not fall. What do you think it is?
Inception. Great movie.
Inception. Nailed it. Okay, next one. It's a legal drama set mostly in a courtroom.
There's plenty of those.
I don't know. Yeah. Features a heated exchange between a young military lawyer and a tough colonel.
A Fruit Good Man.
Yeah. Famous lines. You can't handle the truth.
A Fruit Good Man.
Correct. Stars Tom Cruise, Jack Nicholson, and Demi Moore. Yes. Give me more. A man lives in the same day over and over.
Oh, Groundhog Day.
So, yeah. It is going to be that because I saw the third clue, but there's a few movies that do that. He starts off selfish but slowly changes for the better. It's set in a small town during a quirky local festival. It's Groundhog Day. Yeah. Give me another. Make it harder. Oh, yeah, again, let's see. A brilliant janitor secretly solves an advanced maths problem at MIT. Features a therapist who helps the main character confront his trauma. Famous lines, "It's not your fault."
The Social Network or Beautiful Mind.
Yeah, it's got Matt Damon and Ben Affleck in it. It's maybe it is Beautiful Mind, might be called. No, it's
the movie with Robert Williams.
No, it's not the Dead Poets one. He's like I don't think it. Yeah, Matt Damon's like the smart janitor that saves it. Might be called A Beautiful Mind.
I think Tom Hanks, Russell Crowe was in Beautiful Mind.
Okay, it's on the tip of my tongue. So it's like something day or Good Will Hunting.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah, another round. A struggling boxer gets a once-in-a-lifetime chance at the heavyweight title.
Sounds like Creed.
Close. He trains by punching meat and running up steps. It's set in Philadelphia and spawned a long-running franchise.
Oh, Rocky.
Yeah. Some of these are easy, like really easy. Okay, yes. Let's give me another one. A group of friends try to return a lost creature to its home. It features a glowing finger and a bicycle that flies across the moon.
Oh,
Directed by Steven Spielberg and became a massive 80s classic.
oh, IT,
E.T.
ET. Never seen it.
I've seen it like once or twice. Okay. Number 10. Two cops with very different personalities are forced to work together. It takes place around Christmas, but it's not a Christmas movie, depending on who you are. Features the line, "I'm too old for this."
Lethal Weapon.
Lethal Weapon. Well, that's what I think it is. It hasn't confirmed it. Bang on. Lethal Weapon, 1987. Okay.
Should we guess the budgets now?
Okay, we'll do one more.
Yeah.
A prisoner crawls through a tunnel of sewage to escape. Set mostly inside a prison, but filled with hope and friendship. Based upon a novel by Stephen King.
Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, I'd say so. I just said yes. And it said, yeah, you got it. I didn't even write what it's called. It is Shawshank Redemption. Okay, let's go. Sandra Bullock, Julia Roberts movies?
Yeah.
Okay. Give me the top 5. Give me
Just talk
10.
quickly. Oh, sorry about that. Nature calls.
Okay, so ChatGPT likes my idea.
Ah.
So I've asked for 10 movies, a mixed from both actresses and random order. Our job is to try and rank them from lowest to total worldwide grossing. So might need a pen and paper for this one.
Hope you are all enjoying the games that we are playing. I think it's fun to spice up the sections that we do.
I think the game ideas are good. I reckon like maybe some big YouTubers might start stealing our ideas.
Indeed.
Okay, so these are the movies. We've got The Blind Side, Erin Brockovich, Gravity, Miss Congeniality, Notting Hill, Ocean's 11, Pretty Woman, Runaway Bride, Speed, and The Proposal. So rank them from 1 to 10, 1 being the highest grossing. So let's see how close we can get. So which one do you reckon might be easy to start with? Which one do you reckon made the least?
The least.
Yeah, so we've got Blind Side, won an award. Erin Brockovich won an award. Gravity was a big sci-fi thing. Miss Congeniality went nuts. Notting Hill was popular. Ocean's 11 had a lot more stars than just Julia Roberts. Pretty Woman was the stardom. Runaway Bride, Speed, and The Proposal.
Maybe The Runaway Bride.
I was thinking that might be 10.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Let's go. Runaway Bride. What do you think? What do you think might be the highest?
Maybe like the
I'm leaning towards Ocean's 11 because of the Brad Pitt and the George Clooney factor.
Yeah. And it was a good movie too.
Okay. What do you think what would be 9? So maybe something like The Proposal. Like it did have Ryan Reynolds in it, but I don't think it was popular at the movies.
No.
I didn't see Gravity, but did that make a lot of money, do you think? Was that a popular movie?
I think so, yeah.
Where do you think that would fit? 1, 2, 3? Well, not 1, but 2, 3, 4.
Maybe 4?
Gravity, 4. Where do you think Miss Congeniality sits?
Maybe 5? Or 6?
Yeah, I don't know if that would have made a lot at the movies. Let's go. I'll go for your first thought, 5. Okay. Where do you think Speed sits?
Maybe 3rd? But
You thinking The Blind Side would be 2 then?
yeah.
So then we're left with 6, 7, and 8. So we've got Notting Hill, Pretty Woman, and Erin Brockovich.
Never heard of another Brockovich.
Yeah. Don't know if that made heats the movies, so maybe we'll go in the middle at 7. Love it, does that. Erin Brock. And then you reckon Notting Hill or Pretty Woman made more money? Pretty Woman was her kind of like first one, but I reckon box office numbers probably aren't as high now. So Notting Hill had Hugh Grant in it. Let's go Pretty Woman at 6.
Yeah.
And then Notting Hill at 8. Okay, let's see the order. Okay. Reveal. Okay, see how many we got. So Gravity was number 1. Blind Side was number 2. The Proposal was number 3.
Wow.
Ocean's 11, 4. Pretty Woman, 5. Notting Hill, 7. We got that closest. 8 was Speed. 9 was Miss Congeniality. And 10 was Erin Brockovich. So we got 0 in order. We weren't even close with that. The closest we got was Notting Hill. We had it at 8 and it was 7. Otherwise, the rest were. Oh, I guess no. We got The Blind Side right. Put Blind Side at 2. We got 1 right.
Shows how hard it is.
Well, I made like Gravity was number 1. I guess it makes sense. It made 7. It made twice as much as the second best.
Okay.
So Gravity made crazy money. So just goes to show. And the bottom one being Erin Brockovich, I can see maybe why. Maybe that was more of a movie that became popular later when it went to probably VHS at that time or maybe DVD. So interesting. The top 3 were all, so it went Sandra Bullock. She has her top 3 grossing movies outweigh Julia Roberts.
Wow.
So, interesting and fun game. Okay, you ready to wrap it up?
Yes. Well, thank you for attending and hope to see you in the next one. Have a good rest of your day or evening and see you next time.
See ya.
Bye-bye.